Holy fetch. I cannot believe that. He's a giant too. He's one of the big ones. This year I drew a once-in-a-lifetime bison tag on the Book Cliffs, an archery tag. I had 5 points, so I was pretty stinking lucky to draw it. Really some odds. Anyway, I'm just up here. It's Memorial Day weekend, the May 26th, 2025. I'm just putting up trail cameras and hiking around out here, trying to find all the good spots and where the bison are at. Good morning. It is opening day. Last night we found a group of bison. We actually saw them from camp. There's about 20 to 30 of them. We got closer last night, came down this ridge, looked at them, and it seemed like there was one shooter bull, maybe two. I didn't get a real good look. I caught a glimpse of one of the bulls and he seemed like he was a pretty good bull. But we're just kind of sitting here. It's just getting light now. We're just waiting to see if we can see him. Been poking around in a couple spots. I don't want to drive right up on them, but it seems like if I stay over the crest of a ridge, they don't really mind the sound as much. So I've been just trying to peek over and find them. The sun's just coming up, but I haven't been able to see them yet. I don't know where they went. I think I'm going to drive down the road here and see if I can find them on this ridge somewhere. If not, we might pop over to the next ridge over and see if there's any over there. And if not, we may head back to the same ridge our camp is on and glass back over here and see if we can see them, and then head down that ridge, because that ridge has that's where I've been finding them mostly recently. So that's the plan. Nothing too crazy. Just still trying to find them. It's a good day to be bison hunting.
All those cuties.
Okay, so I found the bison from this morning and got a good look at a bull in there, and he's a pretty good bull. Definitely a shooter. So I'm just starting my stalk now. My wife's back up here. She's kind of watching him for me to make sure I don't lose track of them. But they're in a really stockable spot. I think I've got a pretty good chance of getting this done. The wind's coming down right now. It's gonna start coming up soon, but I gotta come down below and cross through this canyon here and then kind of come up there's kind of like a small little draw right behind them. I've gotta come up that and then kind of pop over that edge and sneak in on them that way. I think that'll help. If the wind keeps going down, stays going down the whole time, they won't smell me, but if it comes up, I think it'll carry it up that draw instead of right at them, but we'll see. So what happened was I tried to do a first stalk on the bison, and I had to kind of cut through an open area and was trying to go slow, but right before I got to the trees where I was going to have good concealment the rest of the way, they saw me, and they were across the canyon from me, and they kind of came down into the canyon, and I thought they were headed up the canyon, so I booked it over there. I was getting towards the edge of the canyon, looked over to my right, and there's two cows standing there, 30-yard, two cow bison, right? And I was like, crap, they saw me. But I was like, maybe they'll file up right here, and I'm gonna have a shot at the big one. Anyway, so they all came by, and the big one came by. They were all came by about 25, 30 yards, and but the big one was running. I didn't have a shot at him, but man, he's a freaking toad. Anyway, so they kind of came around and probably ran. I mean, from that point, they probably ran 3/4 of a mile to a mile and kind of stopped, and they were kind of milling around over here, and we kind of stopped up on the hill. I was looking at them, kind of saw that they were kind of moseying around, kind of figured they were going to come this way, and had to stop and change a poopy diaper and all those things. And anyway, so we came down and around and kind of got in front of where they were moseying onto. I came out here in this sage and was out here, and the bison were coming down through these trees here, and I looked over and didn't realize they were right there, but I looked over and they're 90 yards away in those trees over here, and I was just out in the middle of this sagebrush here, and there was no cover I had, and I was trying to, they were kind of moseying around in the trees over in here a little bit, and I thought they might bed down or hang up there for a minute, give me enough time to try and crawl my way. I was literally on my hands and knees crawling, trying to get closer to them, and anyway, they kept coming. They were actually coming kind of towards this empty water hole right here, but they were coming and saw the truck and then started coming right for me. And it was a cow, and then the big bull was second, so it would have worked out perfect had I been here like 5 minutes earlier. I would have had a fantastic shot. Would have been able to set it up real well, but they got out to about 35, 40 yards from me, and the cow saw me, and then she kind of turned off, and then the big bull was kind of standing there staring at me, and I was waiting for him to just turn just a little bit, and I was gonna pull out my rangefinder and range him. I had an arrow knocked, my release on, and I was just waiting for him to turn, and so I could range him and take a shot, and they boogered off before, so I wasn't able to get a shot. Just wild. I didn't realize they were coming just right here. I mean, I saw them kind of moseying this way, but I didn't think they would be here that fast, but I also didn't think they would come up this high. I thought they were going to be down lower, but dang it, man, that was really close. And my wife and my daughter almost saw it, like they saw the whole thing, like they could see the bison coming out right here. They were probably only 150 yards from them, and dang it, that was close. That was really close. That would have been so cool if they'd been able to see it, but darn it. Yeah, sometimes they're gray like that. It's been a pretty slow day since that last group of bison. That was like 10:30, 11 this morning probably. Sometime in there. It's now 5:02, and we haven't seen a bison since then. Put on quite a bit of miles and just haven't turned one up yet. we gave those bison a rest, and then we tried to go find them again and just couldn't find them. So not sure where they made it to, but hopefully we can find them again. We're still going at it. We'll be going at it till dark and then going to bed. Morning. We're on Monday of the hunt. It's my second day hunting. It's just about shooting light right now. I'm going to drive down this ridge and I'm going to see if we can find any bison. Saturday, the second half of Saturday, couldn't find very much, but it was kind of raining off and on. I got the feeling that a lot of animals were kind of holed up, weren't moving around very much. I don't know what the bison were doing. I kind of figured they were doing the same thing in the trees somewhere, just out of the weather. Yesterday, Sunday, was pretty warm, so I think it got things moving around on their feet yesterday, and I'm hoping that'll help get everything moving. I think a bunch of people went home too, so I think that'll help as far as relieve a good deal of the pressure that the bison had been feeling, and all the other animals for that matter. But yeah, just gonna drive down the ridge here and hopefully run into something. Well, it just rained and there is a little bit of water in here. I'd imagine the bison will be in here soon, coming to get some of that. Seems like within probably about 3 days of the rain, they're hitting the guzzlers pretty consistently. That seems like how the pattern was when I was running trail cameras in the summers. Typically, sometimes it'd be as long as 5 days, but typically in about 3 days they'd hit it. So, coming to look off in this deep canyon. So I was gonna come up this ridge, peeking off the edges as I was coming back up it, but I think I'm just gonna come up here and glass across. There's a spot where my camp is at where we can glass across, and that's where we saw the bison. I think I'm gonna try that and then head down a different ridge and see if I can find something, but I'm kind of just scratching my head going, where could these dang things be? So I just had a group of bison. I'm sitting here. I don't know how I didn't see him, but I'm sitting here glassing and I look over. I'm like, oh, there's a cow. Wait, that's a bison. And there's a group of bison like 150 yards from my truck. I'm at camp. They just walked over the hill. I'm just like speechless right now. I gotta get my bow and get over there. I'm like, I couldn't see if there was a good bull in that group. So I need to get over there and see what it is, see what group that is. If that's that group from yesterday, that bull's a stud, but I need to get over there and see what's in there. So those bison disappeared. That was completely hurting my brain trying to figure out where the heck they went, because I just don't understand where they went. The only thing I can think is that I think they got into the bottom and then headed down the canyon, because I wouldn't have been able to see them. I think if they would have gone up the canyon, I should have seen them, because I've done a full circle around that little canyon now. I'm going to go down to the end of this canyon, kind of a peek down in it. Kind of looks like it's a little bit of an gets open down towards the bottom, and see if they're kind of hanging out here in the bottom, or if they're traveling along the bottom, if I can see them at all. It's the only thing I can think of to do. I mean, if I don't see them there, I'm kind of just lost. I don't understand how I could lose. There's at least 20 of them there. I don't understand how I could just lose them like that. But man, they're sneaky. Found the bison again. They're right on the road. Well, just off the road, but right there. So I knew they had to come down. Dang it all. to see if there's a shooter bull in there. I'm not sure what to do right now. I've been able to see that there's at least one bull in. Older bull. I didn't see how good he was, but I could tell he was a bull. My wind is blowing right to him. They're like 200 yards. I'm just sitting here in the truck. I gotta figure out what the play is. So I hit one. I hit the bull. He's not a giant, but he's a good bull. He was at 23 yards. I think I hit him a little low. The arrow didn't get quite the penetration that I wanted it to. But I sat there watching him for a minute. They all kind of ran out into the middle of this right here. And then sat there and looked back at me. But, and they all kind of wandered off this way, across the road. I still haven't found blood. I mean, I know I hit him. It was 23 yards. It was stinking close. I wish I would have gotten the shot on camera, but I'm gonna go look and see where they crossed the road. He was the last one, so if there was any blood, there shouldn't be any dust kicked over it. Dang it, I'm kind of worried now that he didn't go down pretty quickly. And I know they're tough, but man, he didn't even lay down or anything. I don't know where that sucker went. Just following these tracks. Once I found the main group where they kind of all met up together, it was easier, but I'm not finding any blood, and my fear is that the bull split off from the group and maybe ended up in those trees somewhere. I don't know. Makes me second guess my shot though too, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he's just bleeding internally and he'll bleed out somewhere, but it kind of looks like they're headed towards this canyon here. There's a little roll dip right here, and then it drops down into a little canyon here, but we'll see if they ended up over there. If he's not in these two groups of trees, he must have gone with the group, and I don't know where they ended up. I tried to find him, but I don't know. Just it's frustrating, because on a once-in-a-lifetime hunt like this, I'm like, okay, I don't want to wound any animals, and that's why I specifically waited for a perfect shot. I knew exactly how far it was. It was exactly broadside. He was not moving. I mean, didn't move till the arrow hit him type thing, and just, I don't know. Sorry I didn't film any of that, but that got wild real quick. I freaking, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how that happened. I was seeing this bull first thing this morning. It was like a ridge over, and I went down that ridge looking for him, and I could tell he was kind of headed up over onto the next side of the ridge, not off the ridge, but just over the top from the other side from where I spotted him. And I got down there and could not find him for the life of me. Anyway, so I was looking all over trying to find, I looked on the other side of the ridge, I was glassing from all the angles I could get on that ridge, just nothing. I figured he'd gone down into there's some thick trees on the bottom end of that ridge, and figured he's in there, and there's no way I'm finding him in there. Anyway, so I go down the next ridge to the west, because I was like, that one's had bison on it, I'm gonna go down that one. And I get a ways down it to where I've seen bison before, but wasn't seeing anything, and I saw a herd of horses and they were kind of running out, and I didn't think really anything of it, but looking back now it's because the bison was right there. Anyway, came around, there's kind of the little finger of trees that stuck out, that kind of skirted along the edge of the canyon there, and they stuck out, and I came around the end of those, and he was standing there at probably 350 yards just looking at me, and I thought, fetch. So I put the truck in reverse, backed up, and I was getting ready to get out and use the trees as cover and sneak up to him, but he wasn't having it, and he trotted out from behind the trees and was staring at me. I'd turned the truck off, had the door open and everything, but wasn't having it anyway. So he kind of takes off. He kind of runs over the ridge, but he's kind of trot walking. I figured, well, not super spooked. I'm just going to go see if it stopped right up here. I went over to the next ridge, and he's still about 300 or 400 yards ahead of me, and I'd run up there, and by this time he's just walking, but he's determined. He knows where he's going, and he's trying to get there. And I was kind of following him behind, trying not to. He kept looking back occasionally, not tons, but occasionally, just to see if anything was there. And I was having to watch him and make sure I wasn't moving when he was looking back. But anyway, he crested that next ridge, and I just took off again, sprinted down after him, and got up to the next ridge, and it was kind of just like that. And then, one or two more times, it just got up to the next ridge, was slowly sneaking over. On the last one, we were kind of getting into some trees, and so I could kind of use the trees as cover and move a little bit faster up on it, but still not super fast. And we got into the trees, and I got up to about 200 yards, sometimes hovering as far back, as close as, like, I don't think I ever got to 100, but probably 150. But anyway, 150 to 200 yards just going through the trees, and I could see him up there. And at one point I came around the corner, and he was kind of caught my movement, but he had to step out from behind a tree to kind of look at me. And luckily I'd stepped right into the shade of a tree to where I was really well camouflaged. It was going to be really hard for him to see him anyway. I thought I was screwed it up. I was like, there's no way I'm going to shoot this thing now. I thought he was going to bust out of there, but he didn't. He just turned and kept walking and following him. And we went through some thick trees. I figured he might bed there. And so I kind of started to slow down a little bit and take my time and say, okay, he's gonna bed here pretty soon because we're in thick trees. But going through the thick trees, and then I can start to see it's starting to open up and into a meadow. He was out in that meadow, and I snuck up right to the edge. I was perfectly in some shade. There was a branch kind of sticking out, so I didn't have in the way, so I had to wait for him to step out from behind it. And he was about 70 yards, and I pulled it a little bit right. I don't know if I hit him in the front shoulder or in the neck. Then he ran off to 90, kind of gave me a quarter two shot. And I figured, well, I knew I'd hit him. I couldn't tell how well. I didn't think I'd hit him super well, but I was like, I'm just going to get arrows in him. So I hit him and hit him back. It came back on the offside. I can tell it came out in front of his back leg. So it wasn't a great shot. It was a gut shot, but enough to make him hurt. And he ran probably 100 yards, maybe 150, and just laid down there. Anyway, so I was like, I know he's not going to die off that probably. I need to get up there and get another arrow in him. But I was just moving real slow, moving quiet, not to make sure I wasn't busting him out or anything, or if he was going to lay down. Anyway, I come around the tree, and there he is 30 yards away, and I have a shot, but it's just a real tight window. I have to fit it in between essentially two trees. The gap was maybe 4 or 5 inches wide, but I had a really good view of the vitals. It's kind of a quartering away shot. I tried to get a little bit closer, but he could kind of tell I was there. I don't know if he heard me or whatever, but he kind of kept looking back like he kind of knew something was there. I don't want to take the shot, but I got to, because I don't think he's going to stay there. So I took the shot and drilled him, threaded that needle beautifully. Lungs or heart shot, or both, something. At least lungs, potentially heart, but beautiful shot right up in there. And he took a minute to die after that, but he was done. I just shot the bison. He's 20 yards right here. He's just dying. I can't believe that. I bet you I walked behind him for over a mile just waiting for him to just stop and give me an opportunity. And he finally did. I was just like, oh man. We were getting to the end of the ridge. I was like, crap, he's going to go off the end of this ridge and drop 1,000 feet down into this canyon down over here. And I'm not going to be able to keep up with him down there. It's just way too steep. I didn't think he was, horny toad. Horny toad. Holy crap. I know he's a big one. I know he's really big. Oh my gosh, he's a giant. He's a giant. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Holy crap. Look at that. Holy crap. He's a giant.